Oh, and tonight's little talk is going to be about posture in centering prayer, and we'll be doing a Visio Divina instead of a Lectio Divina, but I'll give you instructions for that. You take delight, O radiant one, in gracing me with new life. O beloved, come and renew me. Let me face my weaknesses and all that confuses me, that keeps me from joy. May all who seek you rejoice and be glad. May all who surrender to you say evermore, my joy is in the beloved. Welcome to this digital contemplative prayer group. This is a place for all God's people. Whatever your beliefs or doubts, you are welcome here. If you're new to centering prayer, just follow the instructions as the session unfolds, and you are also welcome to use the silence in any other way that is right for you. Loving God, we ask for your blessings upon this gathering, recognizing that we bring the joys and sorrows of our lives here today. If anyone would like to mention, silently or aloud, expressions of gratitude or concern for ourselves, our families, our friends, our society, or our fragile planet, please do so now. And don't forget to unmute yourself.
For all those suffering with the fires in California and Oregon, and for Nick's healing. For Caden.
For healing, so that people can actually have a conversation that have differing political views.
For healing, for Maya, and for Steve's daughter.
God, we trust that you hear our prayers, silent or spoken, wordless or in words. So I'd just like to talk a little bit about posture in centering prayer. And I'd like to invite you to give yourself permission to let your body be comfortable and at ease during your practice, and to think of the practice time as an opportunity to let your body be in alignment, and to take a moment as you prepare to notice, as you prepare for the practice, to notice how your body is feeling and how it is sitting, and to make adjustments. And we'll do that with some intentionality before we begin. Part of what's inspiring me to do this, to look at this theme this week, is an article in the New York Times that some of you may have seen called A Dentist Sees More Cracked Teeth. What's Going On? And it's an article written by a dentist who's seeing a really astonishing number of people with cracked teeth. And it's because the pandemic is causing us to clench our jaws. We're under a lot of stress. We're suddenly working under unusual circumstances. Here's a quote from the article. An unprecedented number of Americans are suddenly working from home, often wherever they can cobble together a makeshift workstation, on the sofa, perched on a bar stool, tucked into a corner of the kitchen counter. The awkward body positions that ensue can cause us to hunch our shoulders forward, curving the spine into something resembling a C shape. And the poor posture that we adopt during the day can translate into a grinding problem at night. And this dentist says that she finds that not only are people unaware that they're clenching their teeth, but even when she can see them clenching their teeth, they say, oh no, I never clench my teeth, and she's just like watching them clench their teeth. So I think all of us tend to push our awareness of our bodies to the back of our minds. We're just trying to get on with it and do our work. And so the pandemic is kind of exacerbating a situation that exists already where we don't pay attention to our bodies and how they're aligned, and it's making it much worse. So I just want to focus on the fact we have this opportunity when we sit down to pray to put our bodies in alignment and just to be kind and gentle to our bodies and ask our bodies, what would you like for the next 20 or 30 minutes as I sit here? What would be a good thing for you, rather than seeing it as a kind of an endurance test where if you, like some kind of ascetic monk from some kind of order where you flagellate yourself, there's no need to make this into some kind of horrible, stressful experience. And you're also invited during the practice, if you notice that something bad has happened, you might start out in good alignment and then notice that something bad has happened to you in the middle of the practice. I invite you to make an adjustment in the middle of the practice. I remember when I was in seminary, when I'd fallen in love with meditation, I was spending an enormous amount of time meditating. And one of my favorite professors, Elizabeth Koenig, said, if you notice in the middle of your meditation that you need to stretch or change your posture, that's a good thing to do. And I was like, it is? It doesn't have to be like this debacle where I'm making myself uncomfortable. I was so astonished that she was saying that. So I pass this on to you, that you have permission to be kind to your body, to be gentle to your body. A few months ago we did a workshop on centering prayer and the body, and I was talking a lot about this theme, and Mary Kay, who I think is here tonight. Did I see Mary Kay here? I think I did, yes. She said something really wonderful to me after the workshop, which is that she's always treated her body like a car that she drives to the meditation, and then she leaves it outside in the parking lot. And I think that's how many of us treat our bodies. We think of the meditation as something that's going on, only in our heads, but it's really our whole being that we're bringing to this practice, and it transforms our whole being. So invite your body to be part of the practice with kindliness towards your body, and see it as an opportunity to be. The practice is helping us to let go of thoughts, and it's also an opportunity to let the wisdom of the body take a slightly larger role than it does in a lot of the rest of our lives. We often let our mind really dominate our lives, and our bodies have a lot to teach us. So, and the body is the place where our healing takes place. Many of our wounds and traumas are stored in our bodies. And so when we take care of our bodies, we help to heal our wounds. And our bodies know how to be alive and how to awaken in a way that our minds don't necessarily know how to do. Our minds can lead us into traps and compulsive, repetitive behaviors, whereas the body may often know what the way out of that is. So, how can we prepare our bodies? What is the best way to prepare your body to be comfortable and present during the time of prayer? I invite you to think about it now, and maybe think about it, this week as you start each practice session on your own, because the answers might surprise you. I sometimes am drawn to completely change where I'm sitting or how I'm, to find a pillow that will put my back into just the right position. So we'll do a little bit of that now, but I invite you to continue with that process of just let your body tell you what the right way for it to sit during your practice would be. The second guideline for centering prayer is sitting comfortably and with eyes closed. Settle briefly and silently introduce the sacred word or the sacred breath as the symbol of your consent to God's presence and action within. And that sitting comfortably is just a few words. So let's just unpack that a little bit with a kind of a guided meditation that will lead us into the centering prayer period tonight. So before we start with that little guided meditation to lead you in, I invite those of you who would like to just stand up and stretch for a moment, just to be kind to our bodies in a different way. You stretch for whatever way is right for you. Like you think about an animal, think about what part of your body is tight. You could just bend over from the waist. Let your head and shoulders hang. If you don't feel like getting up, you could just bend from the waist at your seat. I'm just going to hang from my waist for a second. Let your head really dangle down. And then you could give yourself a real shake. I go to a dance class where in between every movement we shake, and the teacher says, shake out those texting fingers, because the work we do on our devices where we're using our hands all the time, it runs up our arms and into our necks and into our jaws. So if you're having a problem with your neck and your jaw, it might be from your texting fingers. So that might be something to do whenever you're about to sit down to your centering prayer, is just to give yourself a little stretch first. And then assume a posture that's alert and attentive, but not rigid. Some of you will be sitting on the floor or on a cushion. Others of you are sitting on a chair. Just notice. This dentist says in the New York Times article, ideally, when seated, your shoulders should be over your hips and your ears should be over your shoulders. Awareness is key. Are your teeth currently touching? If so, that's a sure sign that you're doing some damage. Your jaw should be relaxed with a bit of space between the teeth, when the lips are closed, you could think of a weight kind of pulling your jaw down a little bit so that it's not creeping up and trying to get tight. And then something else I find helpful to think about is the angle of the head. Some of us tend to tilt our heads back very far, others might let our heads drop forward. So I think it's helpful sometimes to just play with the angle of the chin and just notice what gives you, once your spine is straight and your head is kind of lightly balanced at the top of your head, what angle of the chin gives you the most lightness and ease? It might surprise you. It might be a little farther forward than you expected or a little farther back. And just notice anything else that you might need to adjust, or just a body part that's feeling unhappy for some reason that you just want to comfort for a moment and just touch with your attention, and maybe make a promise to it that you're going to give it the attention it needs later on. What is your body trying to tell you? What does it need to be mindful and alert? Not so alert that you become rigid and tense. Not so comfortable that you slouch and fall asleep. Our bodies are a gift from God, and they deserve our respect and our love. And we can honor them during this practice by just spending a few moments making sure they have what they need before we begin. Loving God, thank you for the gift of our bodies. Help us to use them to be fully present with you, that we may be ready to love and serve you with the fullness of our being. So tonight we're going to be doing a Visio Divina instead of a Lectio Divina. I'll be showing you an image, and I'll be using instructions out of my book, Centering Prayer for Everyone. So if you're interested in doing this at home, there's a whole chapter on Visio Divina in the book. Visio Divina is a form of divine seeing in which we prayerfully invite God to speak to our hearts as we look at an image. I'm going to show you an image, and as you gaze at it, I'll offer you some questions for silent reflection. And some of them may speak to you, while others of the questions you might choose to ignore. At the end of the Visio Divina, I'll invite you to share a word or phrase to express your experience of the image. As you gaze at the image, notice your breath and your body. Simply be present to the image and allow it to speak to your heart without any particular agenda. It might speak to you in words or wordlessly. How do you feel looking at the image? If you had to describe the image in a sentence or two, silently to yourself, what would you say? If you were in the image, where would you place yourself? Do you get a glimpse of the sacred from this image? Is God speaking to you in this image? Does a name for God arise for you from this image? In silence, sit with whatever you have received. If you choose, share aloud a word or phrase to express your experience of the image. And don't forget to unmute yourself.
Accepting,
Awake,
divine energy,
graceful power,
harmony,
body,
orderly,
serenity,
free flow,
humble,
oneness,
universal,
unifying,
River of energy,
complexity, and symmetry and beauty.
let's close by saying together the night prayer. Lord, it is night. The night is for stillness. Let us be still in the presence of God. It is a night after a long day. What has been done has been done. What has not been done has not been done. Let it be. The night is dark. Let our fears of the darkness of the world and of our own lives rest in you. The night is quiet. Let the quietness of your peace enfold us, all dear to us and all who have no peace. The night heralds the dawn. Let us look expectantly to a new day, new joys, new possibilities. In your name we pray. Amen. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm sorry it was a little noisy. I had neighbors and airplanes and sirens and car horns, so I hope it didn't disturb you too much.
Life.
Yes, life in Brooklyn.
Right. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good night.
Have a great week, everyone.
Good
night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Lindsay, what is the title of that image?
I don't know that much about it. It's a Tibetan image of the chakras.
Yes.
I just searched for Tibetan healing, and that's
Thank
what I
you.
came up with.
So beautiful. Thank you for everything.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay.
You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Dawn.